Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another chat with Matt. So today I'm joined by two guests. One will be very familiar to you because he seems to have been on more than me. And the other one is someone new to our team I want to introduce to you in just a moment. But before I do that, today's chat is going to be about sales transformation, but more than that, sales transformation as a service. I'm sure you're all aware that so much more of what we do now is provided as a service. So we pay monthly fees and we can consume what we need to consume either on demand or on a regular cadence. Well, sales transformation as a service is very similar to that, but actually not many people understand what it really is. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit more about today. Before I do that, Mark and James, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Matt.
Very excited. We do this on a Friday, Matt. Best day of the week.
Best day of the week, right? We're feeling relaxed. We're ready for the weekend. We were talking plenty of nonsense before we started, so let's carry on in that vein, shall we? Mark, great for you to come on. This is your first chat with Matt, isn't it?
Certainly is, Matt.
And it feels like you've been here a while now, but I know it's only been a few weeks. Tell us a bit about you.
Background is sales and marketing. Worked for some consumer electronics companies in the past. Started my own business doing outdoor clothing. I managed that for 11, 12 years. I decided I wanted a new start. I wanted to become part of a team again. Mentor gave me a great opportunity to join being their brand and marketing manager. And it's a great opportunity which I just couldn't turn down.
Yeah, and you're very welcome. And I think the thing that we found, and I'm sure everybody watching and listening to this will resonate, sometimes when you've been in the business as long as James and I have been in this business for, you kind of get a way of thinking. What you've brought in the few weeks you've been here, Mark, is different thinking. Challenge those things that we've taken for granted, and that's hugely valuable.
Thank you for that, Matt. And it's been a very enjoyable experience. And I think myself and my other colleague Rosie can really see some great opportunities for the brand to grow in the future.
Yeah, we're going to get Rosie on a chat with Matt in November, so watch out for that. So, James, let me come to you first. Try and demystify this, if you will, in simple terms that we can all understand. Describe what sales transformation as a service is.
Okay, so in our normal delivery of sales transformation work, we put together a number of items, but we deliver it as a project. Often like a once-off project that we do at the beginning of a quarter or a sales kickoff. But what we've realized is that sales transformation isn't something that you just kick off. It has to be an ongoing process throughout the year because things change and migrate. So if you think about what we bring as an organization for sales transformation, when you look at products like our sales productivity diagnostic, which allows us to get a health check of what the health of your sales organization is, whether it's the implementation of our blueprints that allow you to have a consistent, repeatable process, whether it's training and enablement delivered through our Kairos products. What we're doing with software transformation as a service is we're bundling all of that together and then doing it on a monthly ongoing basis in a managed way. So as an organization, what you get is a completely managed sales transformation service that's delivered over 12, 24, 36 months, whatever we do together. It gives us the opportunity to go deeper than just a one-off project kickoff and enables you to spread the organization, to spread the costs over that 36, 48, 12 months, whatever you want to go and do. So that's what it's like in simplistic terms.
I think I'd add to that sometimes we want transformation to occur overnight.
Exactly.
So if you've got a challenge around your forecast accuracy or your win rates, or you've not got enough going into the top of the funnel, we go, great, let's do a project, it'll be fixed. The reality is, in order to get real transformation, you've got to look at your technology, your process, and your people. And those things are in a change process, they take time. So actually,
everything goes through the standard change cycle.
Yeah.
So if you're stopping the cycle too early, you might be in the valley of despair, and we finished the project, but actually the guys haven't made that change, that transition all the way through. So it often has to be done over that longer period of time, Matt.
And the valley of despair is often where you get transformation fatigue. So you go, well, I wanted to do this. I wanted to improve our win rates, but I'm not seeing any change.
Yeah.
And if you look at that on a project basis, that's not surprising because you're just trying to fix one thing rather than the whole ecosystem which is going to make that change possible. So you get that fatigue, you go, right, this isn't working. And all of a sudden, like a load of kids on, young kids who are playing Sunday morning football, you all follow the ball over there. And then you go, okay, well, now the ball's gone over there. Chase it over there.
Absolutely.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It might fix something short term, but it doesn't work. So that's my view and your view, James. Simplify it for us, Mark. What's your view?
My view is that service part is probably the most essential part of it. It really allows us to partner with our clients instead of being a one-stop shop. It means that we can introduce training and covering off any weaknesses they see within their sales business month after month after month. And that allows you to respond to their business needs. That may be things that looking at their pipeline, it may be looking at their margin success, but it also can respond to today's world. So hybrid working now is becoming a thing for salesmen to get around, and we can offer that service on an ongoing basis. I think the great thing about the product as well is that it sort of combines training, but also combines it with technology and brings it up to the 21st century, which I think is a really great proposition. People understand the sort of technology we bring out, but it also allows us to deliver it in a way which today's salesmen understand, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
I think there's some really key points that you touched on in there, in that, just within our business, and all businesses are the same. If you look 6 months out from now, the landscape's going to change.
Yeah.
So the latest research from Gartner shows that by the end of the year, maybe 64% of people will still be doing hybrid working. That compares to around about 25% pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So you think about that and you consider, well, what does that world of working mean when we're now doing hybrid roles? It's not the same. So 6 months from now, that'll be a different picture. 12 months from now, that'll be a different picture again. And I think what you articulated really clearly there, Mark, was the variables are always changing. So you've got variables. And what that means is you've got to be agile enough to move with the market, to move with the customer, to move with the organizational strategy and not be fixed.
Yeah.
So for me, the way you articulated that is that let's develop a relationship with our clients. That means as you change, we'll change with you, and what you need from us will change accordingly and keep you out of that valley of despair, James, because we don't want to be there. Would that be fair, James?
Yeah, I think that was really well put, Mark. Thank you for articulating that, because what we said about us being with you for the whole period, what we've seen over the last 18 months is the need to adapt quickly to the changing marketplaces and circumstances. And you can't do that. If we did a kickoff, for example, early in Q4 2019, it would have been out of date by February 2020 because the pandemic hit. When you've got transformation as a service, we can adjust, adapt, and make it work, because as an organization, we moved from 90% face-to-face physical delivery to 100% online and digital in a couple of weeks, didn't we, Matt? So we know that we can adapt to change. But as a sales organization, there were so many organizations that really struggled with, oh my goodness, how are my salespeople working and how they're getting enabled and engaged through that period? And I personally think we're going to go through another huge amount of change, even though that things are somewhat settling down. It's always going to be further change, and the world of work is never going to be the same again.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And James, let me just, because I know technology is your sweet spot, your passion, you're the chief technology officer, the clue's in the title. What's the risk, or what's the downside if in a transformation process you don't pay enough attention to technology? What's the likely impact and risk of that transformation working?
Well, you've got a number of factors to think about there. So number one is that one of the challenges that I see regularly is people are not measuring the same thing consistently. So when you start a project, you have some measures of success, and then when you measure it, try to measure it again, they've changed, or you want to try and have a look at a different metric. And so that's where things like the technology from the SPD, the Sales Productivity Diagnostic, comes in, that allows you to measure things consistently. That identifies the gap out all the time. That then allows you to make sure you're addressing specifically the issues that are affecting you as an organization right now, because we could impact something like your close times, your close rates. That could be great for the first quarter, but then you might need to adjust it to go and work on the pipeline. And if you're doing it at a project, you tend to focus on one thing, but you've got to have the technology that's able to measure that success all the time. The second part to that will be the delivery of training content. And I've spoken passionately many times about the 3 ins of digital training. And the challenge is that people need to really listen to what the sales people want for engagement, as opposed to what lots of L&D people want to deliver. Because there's massive gap out between sometimes what you see from L&D. You want to say, oh, we'll produce all of these courses, they're nice 1-hour graphic click-throughs, and the sales guys are going, no, I need something that is individual to me. I don't want to be sheep dipped. I need something that I can get in the moment quickly, something that I can bite size, and something that I don't have to log on to another platform for. And that's where the technologies come in, because you can create individual learning journeys. You can deliver them in the moment when they absolutely need it in bite-sized chunks, and you can make sure that it's in their line of work. Back to my 3 ins.
And I think and we've talked many times on Chat with Matt about the fact that, my kids who are late teens, early 20s, they don't learn the same way that maybe we do, or that you do if you're listening and watching. Mark, your 3-year-old is going to learn in an entirely different way than my 18, 20 and 22-year-old. And that's the whole point about transformation. It's got to be agile enough.
Yeah.
And it's got to be focused on the people that it matters to.
But Matt, if I stop you there, I think one of the great parts of sales transformation as a service is this technology we've got in there called CogMap. So we're not just looking at the organization as a whole and the business's strengths and weaknesses, we're looking at the individuals as well. So we've got this great technology which is based on neuroscience, which will look into the strengths and weaknesses of the salesman, and we can do individual training programs for those individual needs, which is an absolute fantastic advance on the way training used to be done in the past.
Absolutely. And to follow on from that, one of the other parts of STAS is, of course, our coaching as a service, which gets built in, which is the ability, and we know, all of us know, the impact that coaching makes on a salesperson or sales manager's performance. There's evidence everywhere for it. The fact that we can now deliver that on demand when the salesperson or sales manager needs it, just changes the game completely. So if you're ignoring all of those technologies, you're trying to work in old ways with new things happening all over you. It's just incompatible.
Yeah, completely agree. We're never going to apologize at Mentor for being passionate about this stuff of transformation. For us, it's always about the customer.
Absolutely.
No 2 customers are the same. So if you think about transformation, are you thinking about it as a snapshot moment in time, or are you thinking about it as a longer term initiative where change and transformation is going to be constant? So you're constantly thinking about your customers, you're constantly thinking about the market conditions, you're constantly thinking about your people, and to Mark's point, how they learn, what they need to learn to make them the very best, to keep them in your business. Because we know in the next 12 months, attrition is going to be a risk. Are you doing all those things well, or do you need support on those?
I think also the thing that we speak quite a lot about in Mentor is the benefit of marginal improvement, marginal gain. And the another advantage of the software transformation, sales transformation as a service, is that we're able to create that marginal gain ongoing month on month on month. And then you get the magic, the miracle of compound interest effectively that completely changes the game. And if we're looking to move that middle set by just 5% to get them to be the biggest improvers, that's how you do it on an ongoing basis.
It's fascinating, gentlemen. I think we could talk about this for a lot longer, but we're coming to the end of our time together. Before we go, as I always do when someone's new on to Chat with Matt, Mark, just, when you're not working in Mentor, what do? What's your interests?
Playgrounds, swimming pools, and anything else Disney. That's
all to do with your daughter, right?
It is. Before that, we love to go on safari. We've taken her age 1 to safari. She absolutely adored it. So hopefully now lockdown is beginning to open up further countries. That's what we're going to do.
Absolutely right. For the rest of you watching and listening, have a think about it. Think about transformation. Where's your focus? Is it on the short term, or are you considering the long term? And are you indeed agile enough as an organization to really change with what's in front of you? Doing the right thing for your people, keeping the talent within your business, keeping the customer satisfaction of your customers as good as it can possibly be. Worth thinking about, isn't it? James, Mark, thank you very much.
Thank
you very much.
And thanks everybody for taking the time to listen and watch Chat with Matt today. And we'll see you very soon on another chat. All the best and take care.